Stop talking, because I can't. Jesus.
You're in charge.
I figured you were listening back there.
I tried locking the door before you came in, but you didn't.
No, I just sit next to you. I'm subbing for Bill, so. We're gonna be able to see the screen.
That's right. Oh, there you can show your nap time.
Is that to you or me?
Both.
Oh, sorry, I was snoozing.
Yeah. Go for 2-2.
Well, that game was 1-0 when I asked.
The girl, which one? Or not.
Well, Riley's at funeral right now.
Yeah.
That, something,
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's funeral, it's already.
Yesterday, some friend came and told me that she went to school with me.
Yeah.
Usually that's the first she read.
This one, I was trying to
We
get
get no
this.
respect for the cop.
No, let's put it together.
Call to order the City Council regular session from May 15th, 2026, 6 p.m. Please rise. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I need a motion to approve or correct the minutes for the special session held on May 11th, 2023.
I do have one correction. Where it says new business for the vote for the Polish flea market, it doesn't state the roll call vote.
Oh, there we go. Yes, thank you. I will add that.
That's the only one I
I need a motion.
have. I'll make motion to approve the minutes with the correction.
Second it. Alderpersons Murphy,
Aye.
Scott,
Yes.
Cantu,
Yes?
Grooms,
Yes.
Heitman.
Yes. Petitions and communications, citizen comment, there doesn't seem to be any, so we're going to move on to the, this report of standing committees. We're going to move that one item down to Public Works. Okay, we're going to report of the city officers. Okay, I'll start. On June 3rd, 2023, the Friends of Rosha Creek Park are celebrating the 75th year of the park and have asked me to attend on behalf of the City of Adams. The ceremony is open to the public and will start at the Welcoming Center between 11 and 11:30. The City of Adams Common Council and I would like to wish everyone a happy and safe Memorial Weekend. And thank you to all the past and present members of the United Forces. moving on, public, police department.
Just a couple things. Yesterday was National Police Officer Memorial Day, which kicks off National Police Week. Just a time to remember those officers that we've lost in line of duty. If you're not aware, Wisconsin has lost 4 officers already in line of duty through shootings. So during this time, we reflect on that and remember them. As you may have heard, having some squad issues that we're working through. We have a couple issues that came up now with the Dodge that I'm hoping are covered under the warranty. We'll hopefully get those fixed next week, and then trying to figure out what's going on with the other Ford. And Curtis thinks that might be covered under warranty if it's what he believes it is. But that's also getting checked more next week. And then something I failed to mention last month that we were participating in was Denim Day was April 26th. As a part of that, we've taken up a collection in the past, so anybody that hasn't had an opportunity to make a donation, and that donation goes to Hope House, and would like to be a part of that, we still have the envelope in the office that hasn't been collected yet, so. And again, that just helps them in their services that they provide to domestic abuse and sexual assault victims, and advocacy services that they provide. So that is all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Public Works Department update?
The City Hall roof project will be starting Monday. We'll be having a walkthrough, the contractors and myself, on Thursday, and they'll start to stage equipment on Friday, and then that project will get going. So you'll see a lot of commotion around here for a while. Sorely needed, as if you look up, you can tell. So that project's getting going on Monday. Also, the leaf vac went out this week, and we barely had a half a load. So we are putting the leaf vac away from the year. Residents can still put yard waste, which consists of leaves and grass clippings, into biodegradable brown bags that they can get at hardware stores. And we'll pick those up every Wednesday. No sand, no rocks, no dog waste, no cat waste. And if we can't lift it up, it's not going anywhere. Please do not put it out if it's pouring rain the night before, because we pick them up and they fall right out the bottom. The other thing when it comes to mowing, and I'm trying to educate the citizens, I've stopped and talked to a bunch, I've talked to the contractors that I've run into. If you mow out into the road and then leave the yard waste or leaves or lawn clippings into the curb line, that's actually against our ordinance. It's a flowing ditch line. You'll block our storm sewers up. Come winter, come rain events, it ends up in our storm sewer, and then things don't drain properly. So it is actually against our ordinance to do that. So if you do mow it out in the yard, please put it back. Also, we did brush pickup today, once again, trying to educate the citizens. I've got brush piles with branches 20, 30 feet long in there. I've got contractors leaving brush piles as high as this room for the width of a lot after they cut down a tree. That's not the intention of brush pickup. We do what we can, but we also have other things to do, and we can't spend weeks on end picking up brush that contractors do the work for. Plus, our site is regulated by the DNR and what we can take in. So once again, just trying to educate, and then hopefully update the policies and stuff to reflect that. Other than that, I don't have much going on. Hopefully a fresh load of patch here shortly, so we can continue with that process, because winter was very rough on our roads this year.
I have one question.
Sure.
Okay, if the citizens are coming in here to pay bills or talk to somebody in the city, where can they park when the construction starts?
The Main Street,
Okay, that would,
We won't be, they won't be out on Main Street along the fire department, old fire department doors here. That whole area will be blocked off. I will actually, I've sent Brooke, maybe we can print out something and post it that showed the areas that are gonna be used. The alleyway will still be open, but they'll be staging stuff in that parking lot over there as well. Until they get here and get it, all the logistics set up with the cranes, they'll see. So, because there's the power line behind the building, that's an issue. So, we'll see. But they'll be utilizing that back parking lot, and they'll be utilizing that side of that building, but nothing on Main Street.
okay, thank you so much. Okay, clerk treasurer update?
All I really have is just getting ready for auditors come in Wednesday and Thursday for the in-office portion of the audit. So still trying to get things uploaded for them so that they have that before they come on Wednesday.
Okay, thank you. Okay, to new business action. Presentation by the Adams County Manager Cynthia Hager for the City of Adams splash pad. Go ahead.
Thank you. Cynthia Haggard, County Manager Administrative Coordinator, Adams County. Some of you I met before, I believe on Public Works. So, anyway, let me begin here. In an effort, and those of you who can't see this, I am going to record this and put it on the county's website. So hopefully the audio picks up. Okay. In an effort to bolster sustainability and assist our local municipality to be in a strong position, the county wants to help the city move forward with purpose and vibrancy, creating a place residents fondly call home. On September 13th, 2022, I attended the City of Adams Public Works meeting to see if there was interest in pursuing a splash pad. The committee was in favor of me looking into it. In October 2022, I met with Jamie Ebert, the Town of Rome Administrator, and Randy Reed, Mauston City Administrator. They both expressed that their splash pad projects were a success and one of the best decisions their municipality has made. I'm here today to go into a little more detail about the splash pad and why perhaps the project is feasible. So what is a splash pad? A splash pad, or spray pool, is a recreation area, often in a public park, for water play that has little or no standing water. Having no standing water eliminates the need for lifeguards or other supervision, as there is little risk of drowning. Typically, there are ground nozzles that spray water upwards out of the splash pad's rain deck. There may be also other water features such as a rainbow, semicircular pipe shower, a mushroom, or tree-shaped showers, as pictured here in Rome. Some splash pads feature movable nozzles similar to those found on fire trucks that allow the user to spray others. The showers and the ground nozzles are often controlled by a hand-activated motion sensor or run on a limited time. In Rome and Mauston, the timer is set for 15 minutes. These splash pads are often surfaced with textured non-slip concrete. Here's a little fella enjoying the Rome splash pad even in the off-season. The area beneath the spray pool typically has drain openings, so the water it produces will not flood the surrounding landscape. In some instances, the water collected in these drains is recycled back into the spray mechanism, thereby conserving water. Alternatively, the water emanating from the spray nozzles may be continually drawn on from a fresh water supply. Typically, the water is either fresh water or recycled and treated water that is treated at least to the same level of quality as swimming pool, the swimming pool water standards. Now, here's a feature story about splash pads I wanted to share with you before I delve into how we get started.
Finally tonight, a popular summer feature is back on CCX.
It is the start of Backyard
southwest suburbs and discovered that these pads are a great way to escape the blazing summer sun. Our first stop was Manor Park in Robbinsdale.
And our particular one is kind of for all ages. Hi!
This pad is a magnet, pulling in plenty of kids who enjoy playing in the dancing water.
And we have a great day today because it's warm out and you can see families are enjoying. Mothers are sitting there and they can enjoy watching their kids have a safe option and they keep cool.
By mid-morning, crowds were building. It was time for fun in the sun.
This one's great. A new discovery for us.
Jessica Beardy and her kids came all the way from New Brighton just to cool off.
And they can explore and I don't have to worry about them and they can just do their thing. Get as wet as they want or not.
Oh, this is one of the best ones because there's a park right beside it.
Our next splash stop was Andrews Park in Champlin.
Oh, it's awesome and the moms can sit and just relax. We don't have to get in the water. Yeah, it's wonderful.
There are plenty of cool features at Andrews, which was voted best water park by a local newspaper.
You know, in Minnesota, you should be here as often as you can. It's awesome.
Besides H2O fun, Andrews also has a concession stand and a nearby playground.
This splash pad is a fantastic addition to the city. We've got 49 jet sprays, 18 of the arch sprays.
Our final splashdown was in Central Park in Maple Grove.
A lot of people come a long way. They've heard about the fountain, they come in, and the great part about it is we don't charge to use it.
This pad is cutting edge.
So we're not wasting water, we're just recycling.
I'm Eric Nelson, CCS News.
If that doesn't make you eager for the weekend, I don't know what will, right?
Yeah, that beats the sprinkler in the yard.
Yeah, that's for sure. That does it for us.
So how do we get started? We need to consider a few things like the location, utility needs, space and parking, sidewalks and bathrooms, what size is appropriate, the estimated costs, what funding opportunities are out there, what are the pros and cons, and public health. And Cody Krzybilski, our county public health officer, will cover that topic later in this presentation. It's said that location is everything, and it's the first consideration in our pre-planning for a splash pad. Having a visible location will heighten use. The more visible it is, the more the destination is able to market itself. Here's an area of the Burt Morris Park to consider. More specifically, how about this area? The splash pad would be nicely positioned close to an existing playground, allowing users to go back and forth between dry and wet play areas. Three critical elements to consider when deciding the location are the availability of water, power, and wastewater lines. Splash pads utilize one of two systems for handling splash pad water. Drain away the water, as shown here in Rome, or recirculate it. Utility connections will often require the guidance of a civil engineer. Consideration needs to be given to space and parking. Making sure the location will provide enough space for the design is important. While splash pads can be designed to fit a designated size specification, we want to make sure we have enough space for the unique needs of our community. Not only do you need adequate space for the splash pad itself, but you also need space for the mechanical equipment. Will the location provide adequate parking? Most municipalities require designated and/or a certain number of parking spaces for these types of amenities. Consideration needs to be given to sidewalks and bathrooms. The people using the splash pad will have easy access to the location. As you can see, if they park to the north, they will be in close proximity to a walkway or future sidewalk. The same is true if you park to the south. Proximity to a bathroom is also a consideration with putting in a splash pad. In this case, we would be able to utilize the existing bathroom. Perhaps there may be a need to upgrade the current bathrooms. What about size? pads in Mauston, Westfield, and Rome are all in the 3,500 square foot range. What about the cost? Rome's project comes in higher because it included the design and build of the splash pad, adjoining playground, landscaped parkland, picnic area, benches with shade structures, bike racks, drinking fountain, and elevated crosswalk speed table. Mauston's project included a jungle gym. Perhaps Westfield's cost will be closer to what it will be for our splash pad. And for those of you who can't see, Rome came in at $550,000, Mauston roughly $300,000, Westfield $200,000. Don't let funding be an obstacle that keeps the city's water play dreams from becoming a reality. The county may be willing to contribute up to $200,000 from the project for the project build using American Rescue Plan Act funds. We need to look into potential cooperatives with neighboring municipalities, local groups, and local businesses. Perhaps we have an option of finding partnerships with local like-minded organizations, such as clubs, the YMCA, and other local districts, or the local school district. There's nearly always money available, we just need to know where to look. There may be several federal and state programs, award grants for park equipment. We may be able to write a community grant proposal that gets noticed. The city has Burt Moore's funds. From scratch-off games to walkathons, we should be able to set up a highly profitable fundraising program. So now let's address the pros and cons. Let's take a look at some positive things. Because there is no standing water, there's less of a need for lifeguards or other supervision, and there is little risk of drowning. Less expensive than a pool. A pool is nice to have, but it is a big investment. A splash pad is a less expensive way to add a water feature to our area. The actual cost will depend on the size and features of the splash pad, but it's safe to say it will be significantly cheaper than a swimming pool. Sorry, I had to advance one slide, okay. Low maintenance. There's not much maintenance and cleaning for the splash pads. Draw to the area. If you'll recall the video, families were driving distances to enjoy the splash pad. Multiple use. Even when the kids aren't playing in the splash pad, it can add some ambiance to our area as a water feature, especially if lights are added to it. Additionally, while not in use, kids can still play with the features. Recall the earlier photo of the little boy in Rome playing during off-season? Positive economic impact. When I first introduced this concept of the splash pad to the Public Works Committee, I told them about a conversation someone had with a family here who was here to attend a game. The family wanted to know where there was a close splash pad and a place to eat. They were directed to Mauston. Why not keep families here for recreation and spending dollars locally? Alternative to lakes, meaning when lakes are closed for whatever reason, the splash pad is a great alternative. Now for the cons. Narrow age appeal. While a splash pad may be the perfect answer for entertaining young children during the summer, older children, not to mention teenagers and adults, are less likely to enjoy themselves in a splash pad. However, I beg to differ because I actually went to the splash pad in Mauston, and it brought a smile to my face to even go in and interact with the the little features, so. It takes up space. Splash pads take up a good sized footprint. Before plans are set, we need to make sure everyone is comfortable dedicating space to it. Potential for injury. Drowning might not be a concern for splash pads, but other injuries are a possibility. Since splash pads encourage running and playing on a wet surface, there is a greater risk for children to slip and fall while playing in a splash pad, potentially leading to bumps, bruises, scrapes, or cuts. If you'll recall from the earlier slide, splash pads are often surfaced in textured non-slip concrete. This fact helps lessen the risk of falls. Operation and maintenance, however low, there's still a cost. So operating and maintenance costs and winter are estimated at $10,000 to $25,000 annually. There's a low electric usage since the only electric part of the pad is the low voltage bollard activator, if you choose to have one. With the assistance of our finance director, we put together rough numbers for the city using Rome's water usage. You can imagine that would be a high volume usage up there. We came up with $7,000 a year. Because you still have to pay your utility, right? You can have a splash pad, but you still have to pay your utility. And then of course we have the risk of vandalism. Please welcome Cody Pisbilski, the Public Health Officer of Adams County. I'll just advance it for you.
All right, so what is a presentation without a little bit of data? Public health's big role here for Adams County is having a positive impact on our community and county, along with making a lot of preventative measures. If you want to go to our first one. So our community action team, just go back one slide, please. So our Adams County public health team has been working really hard on just preventative measures. The biggest thing we came out with the past couple of years is our community health assessment. Our top 4 priority areas that came out were access to care, mental health, nutrition, physical activity, and then drugs and alcohol. So we could knock out 2 of these measures with a little bit of work regarding mental health and then physical activity. We could take a good chunk out of just some of the work that we're doing. Next slide, please. Yeah. So our community action teams were derived out of our community health assessment. These community action teams are with targeted solutions along with utilizing SMART goals. In these community action teams, we have key stakeholders. So we have nurses, we have the school district, we have the hospital involved, and many other key community stakeholders. We meet monthly, so we work on specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goals, which are SMART goals. These are evidence-based practices of which we work off our health priorities. So part of this community action team was working on mental health and then nutrition, physical activity. And with those groups, we had led conversations around a splash pad, which is why I'm presenting a little bit of data to you guys today. So next slide, please. So here's the data portion. As you can see, the green is where Adams County is. So this data is coming out of our 2021 CHA. Out of the CHA, which is our community health assessment, comes the CHIP, so that's our community health improvement plan. So again, just draw your attention to the green bubbles that I have on the screen for you. The white bubbles are actually the Wisconsin state data, the green is Adams County data. So 14% of adults have 14 or more days of poor physical health per month. So as you can see, we're ranked high above the Wisconsin data. So we're at 14% for Adams County. The state of Wisconsin is at 11%. The next one here is 32% of adults ages 20 or older are obese. And Wisconsin is at 32%, so we're tied with the state of Wisconsin right now for Adams County. The next one here is 18% of adults 20 or older have been diagnosed with diabetes. So we're above the Wisconsin state average. Again, we don't want to be above in anything, we want to be below the averages. So we're 8% above the Wisconsin state average at 10%. The next one here is 26% of adults ages 20 or older aren't physically active. So the average for Wisconsin is 20%. And then the last one here that I wanted to present is only, sorry, this is a little small there, was it say only 53% of residents have access to exercise opportunities. And I'm just gonna jump in front here so I can see the small font. So Wisconsin is at, I believe that is 65% as well. So we're at 53%, Wisconsin is at 65%. So our rate just below that, so that's one of our positive impacts here. So as you can see with our community health data that came out of our CHA, Adams County has been pretty low with physical activity. And having a splash pad here in Adams County would obviously increase this data, making it a little bit more healthier and happier for our county. Next slide, please. And then, so when practiced regularly, physical activity can lower depression symptoms and it can reduce the risk of chronic diseases. So mental health and physical activity go hand in hand. You know, the importance of physical health, it can reduce depression symptoms, it can reduce chronic diseases and illnesses, and it can also reduce death. Just a Wisconsin state fact for you, 90 to 95% of those in Wisconsin have type 2 diabetes. And exercise and physical activity can reduce that drastically. So with type 2 diabetes, physical activity can reduce that. And again, a splash pad, individuals, family members, children, all being physically active would reduce those metrics. And then physical activity has a direct correlation to mental health. Statistics have showed that being more physically active, whether you're outside or indoors, or just enjoying time with your friends and family, is the same thing as seeing a mental health therapist. So the correlation goes hand in hand. The more that you're physically active, you can reduce those mental health side effects as well. Also saving your money if your family doesn't have health insurance or anything like that. And then our last slide, please, that I wanted to touch on is with public health, we have a lot of community action teams, we have a lot of coalitions, a lot of work groups that we work with. One of the big ones right now is a recruitment and retention work that public health is working on. We're obviously thankful for what we have here in Adams County, but we need to have things that attract individuals and families that come to. For example, if we're trying to get nurses here or doctors here, housing is an issue. Location is an issue. It's very rural. So having something that they could bring to their families, they have when they move here, to provide stuff for doctors and nurses and teachers and valued community members, having a splash pad like this would kind of help make that argument to have a better place here for Adams County. And the last thing I want to say is that having a splash pad in Adams County would benefit a lot of people. Would be whether it's childcare, whether it's teachers or the school district, or just in general if you're out and about trying to enjoy stuff with your family. It would definitely bring more recruitment and excitement into our county. So that is our public health portion. I'll give that back to Cynthia.
Okay, so what's next? We need approval from the city to move forward. So I don't know if it's this committee or if it will go back to the Public Works Committee, but I'll need some sort of direction. Second, ARPA, the ARPA funds. We have an ARPA meeting at the county, and there is where I would try to commit the $200,000. And then from there, it would have to go through our full board for approval. Enter into a memorandum of understanding whereby expectations of the county and city are well defined, what our roles are. The city to provide me with the Burt Morris information, the bequest, and then also financials. Site selection. I mean, I just gave a recommendation there, I just kind of picked it and I thought, well, that looks like a appropriate area, but maybe there's things I don't know, right? So site selection. And engineer, do we need to get an engineer in here? And then also potentially creating a focus group or an ad hoc committee that oversees this project. And that'll be a combined effort between county and city. But in the end, it's your project. We're just helping to fund it, and whatever I can do on that side to help facilitate bids and all of that, I'm also willing to help. Because it's important for all of us, really. I mean, we're all a team. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
I do have some questions. with the potential ARPA funding, is that something the city would have to pay back to the county?
No,
In any of the research, when you talked about grants, did you talk to any municipality that was awarded grants and how likely that would be?
yeah, so back to my first, okay. So Mauston actually had the Lions Club involved, and then they also received donation from a family. And Rome, right now, you can see in one of the pictures, they were actually looking for a fundraiser to create some more of the shelters. And they have success, and it looked like they were like 75% of reaching their goal. So you will have community buy-in, for sure, on this. I don't know if you've been watching the Facebook posts, but most of them are coming across, like they're very excited the minute that I announced that we were having this meeting or do this presentation, the community is in support. So as far as other grants, I know that, maybe you want to touch on?
Sure. Yeah, so I've been having some light conversations, with our team, with our community action teams, again, just key stakeholders, doctors, nurses, school districts. So with those light conversations, they've all been in support of the work that we're doing to with public health, splash pad, and the community action team. So they actually wanted to kind of help spearhead this conversation with you guys too. So we definitely would have some bigger key stakeholders that would be interested in helping out too.
So we're pretty confident that we can write a very, very attractive package for granting agencies because of the need. And it is a hot thing right now, splash pads are. I haven't really talked to anyone that said, oh, this was a mistake. No, they said there's no way we could take this back. Like when I talked to Mauston, they were like, there's no way that we would not do this going forward. And he had some reservations, at the beginning, because it's a commitment, because you do have a maintenance expense attached to it, but in the end, no. He said community would never allow us not to do it.
Have you gotten any feedback from any of the municipalities on which system is better for maintenance costs, whether it be the drain away or the recirculate?
Yeah, so in Rome and Mauston, it's a drain away, but here I was kind of picturing the drain away because where I kind of pictured it, there you have like a, I don't know what that is. It's not a river, it's a, right there between the
engineered
bridge.
drainage ditch.
So I mean, you could have it go there. If you do the recycling of the water, there's more cost to that because you have to make sure it's safe because the kids are going to try to drink the water, so you have to make sure it tests the pH or whatever you have to do, like with pools. So probably the drain away would be the most. But you'd have an engineer come in and help us through that.
What did Westfield do?
I'm not sure. I didn't get that from Westfield. I doubt that it's recycled though, but don't quote me on it because there's a lot of maintenance to that. And Westfield was the lowest one up there with the dollar amounts at $200,000. It was actually $220,000. And of course, the more little features you have, the more expensive it is. So that's, I don't know how we can do that, but maybe the subcommittee or ad hoc committee can kind of get a public survey out. Hey, what do you want to see? And they can all see these different features and say, wow, that would be nice, that would be nice. And then you have sort of a community buy-in, with the project. And you're also going to have, to me, volunteers who are going to volunteer to do the maintenance, which is, cleaning a drain out, if there's sticks and leaves or stuff in it. You may find community wanting to assist there.
No, go ahead.
So, with some of the others that have the playground next to the splash pad, do they have sand or some other material down for the playground? I just foresee that being an issue of tracking the sand into the
Yeah,
splash
so
pad.
in Rome, they don't have it's like tire material, where they use recycled tire. Mauston does that and it's great, it's really cushioned. And again, Mauston didn't come in very high, and they had that playground, the jungle gym, with that. It's like recycled tires, but it's colored. It's very cushy, but still, no, that doesn't go anywhere. I walked around it, and yeah, they don't have a sand issue.
So that would be something else that we'd have to look at, potentially changing with the playground right there. And then the other is just, you mentioned there's obviously always gonna be some risk involved with anything. Did the other municipalities have to add any sort of, I wanna say, liability insurance or coverage, or is it just kind of a use at your own risk type of a thing?
So I was told it's under an umbrella. It's considered in the open. You know, you have a certain umbrella for things that are in the open. That would fall under that umbrella. The other thing I was told by someone, and I have to validate it, but when you are at a park or recreation type thing, there's some assumed risk of the user, right? So if your kids get injured, the insurance doesn't kick into that. There's some assumption of risk.
And then did any add any lighting systems for it, or need to add lighting?
If we're worried about vandalism, I would say lighting is probably a good thing, like maybe a motion type light that comes on. But all that could be, you know, all these concerns could be addressed, but this is the research that I've found so far.
Thank you.
Not any negatives. I have not heard any negatives.
Do you know any towns that don't have one besides us?
Oh, there's a lot, and would they like to have them? Yes.
But I mean, there's the small towns around us. We're the only one that doesn't have one, right?
Right, well,
Besides the CETA, I think.
well, the thing that's nice about us is you guys have the utility, all right, you have the water, and you're gonna draw people from those other communities.
No, that's
and
why
for
I'm
sure.
saying we need one.
Oh, yeah.
No, I know.
I mean, if they're driving to Boston, and they're driving to Rome, the reason they didn't go to Rome that day, I talked about that game, was that Rome didn't really have a lot of places to eat that was family or kid friendly, where Boston does, but we have it here. I mean, we have friendly places to eat, let's keep them here, let's keep the families here.
Brooke, I have one question. So it says that we currently have a TID over Burke Morris that expires in, I think, September of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that we would be able to amend the project plan to?
I would have to check, I'm not sure. That one we might have already extended,
Okay.
and it's in the time frame where we can't add any more expenses to the TID. I would have to double check though.
I'm pretty sure that is the
believe
case,
that's the
yes.
case,
Yep.
yes.
I'd like to see us move forward and getting a committee together, whether it's in Public Works or getting an ad hoc committee together to start exploring this.
Just quick question for Cynthia. At our Public Works meeting, you stated at that time that you had up to $750,000 of ARPA funding. Why did you guys fall on the $200,000 now?
We're at the end of it, that's all we've got left. So I want to speak for it at our next ARPA and lock it in, that will be the rest of our ARPA funds. Because you have to commit, you know, you have until 2024 to commit, and then you have until 2026 to spend it. So we've got time to kind of work through all this stuff.
Could I just clarify one other thing too? You said that maintenance costs were estimated between $10,000 and $25,000 annually, and then you said $7,000 based on Rome's use. Was that utility use $7,000, or was that the maintenance cost for?
So winterizing was part of the 10 to 25. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of expense with winterizing. I didn't get that. It was more of the use of the water, gallons per day, and Rome was way up there. I mean, they were like, at their high, they were using 70,000. I know it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't a lot. 3 million for the year. So, and I looked at her graph, and then we just took 3 million, and we used your rate that you charge for utilities, and that's how we came up with the 7.
So based off your thing, you wouldn't have to hire another employee for the city to maintenance it, just this.
If you could get the community to assist with like cleaning drains out, and I wasn't told that was an issue, you know, if we manage the trees around there, you're not gonna have branches and leaves. You know, the location that I kind of marked on there, there's a lot of trees right there, so, I mean, we can address all that later, right? And we obviously have to redo this, we have to address the sand thing, because you certainly don't want that in your drains. And you can make this project as big as you want, and we can kind of start with a general idea, but again, the ad hoc committee, Getting an engineer in here so that we're not guessing, the engineer's gonna help us. And most likely, probably the drain away system is, you can make that a green space too, where it's draining in. It can be pretty, in other words, it's not gonna look like an eyesore.
Brooke, what do we need to do next to get an ad hoc committee together or to get this rolling?
Well, it's right now at Public Works level.
Okay.
I can look into also creating one of those, how we go about creating one.
Why don't we send it back to Public Works? Because they've got this little thing that they have to be doing also. They've got a couple of projects that they need to get together. And they're creating a survey, so we could borrow that information and we could get that organized. And they've got some things about green space.
There's a lot of irons in the fire right now when it comes to the parks and that. We've got our outdoor rec plan, we've got Lions Park that's been pushing for 2 years, and now this on top of it, so it's a lot of stuff happening all at once, so.
With this particular project though, that's where I'm willing to do whatever I can, and if there's more people from the county, trust me, there's a lot of people interested. And if it fits other, I mean, we have strategic goals just like you do. One of them was, amenities, economic development. And so this kind of fits the bill. That's why we're willing to do what we can to get this to work. So we'll have manpower, if you will, to do the bids and engineer all of that. But again, it's your project. It's not like, oh, the county's gonna run this. No, you guys have to be okay with it. We're just helping with whatever it takes to get it done, right? Dedicating time, money, resources.
So where does the bill start and stop? I think we're all advocates for it, I think, but the pre-planning, so we all agree that we're gonna move forward, and then out of the blue, the space falls through, or, because it sounds like we have to get an engineer, obviously there's pre-planning to all those things, but, and then it falls through, are we able to use that, the ARPA money to pay those things, or does that come out of the city's pocket too? Are you following what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the first step, so that you're protected and so is the county, that our investment's going to good use, is the memorandum of understanding. And that's where we're gonna decide who does what, and then we'll have an ad hoc committee to say, are we meeting our goals? And those dollars for the engineer should be included in the cost of the splash pad.
Okay.
So those numbers I was sharing with you is plan, design, all of it, except for Rome, they went, they went big. And maybe we can go big. I mean, if you've got community, if you've got the Y, you've got the hospital, and maybe you mentioned Gunderson, there's a lot of interest. School districts maybe, everybody's interested in this, and they'll put dollars.
That's why I think we need an ad hoc committee that'll have various stakeholders at the table.
Yeah. In my mind, I'm thinking this will end up being some equal portion between city, county, and a fundraising component.
Yeah, I think, and going to clubs and asking,
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So why don't we get started with developing an ad hoc committee for it?
I'll look into that, and I'll see where, Chip or Jason.
Yeah. Jason will be a important component to that, obviously.
I would like to also say what Cynthia is really looking for also is time is at the essence here when it comes to the ARPA funds. So we really need to make those decisions in the next month or so, so we have those, or other people are gonna look for that money, plain and simple. So I'm just urging you guys to move forward as fast as you can.
So the next deadline to me is I have to get to the next ARPA meeting, which will be in June. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the June meeting.
Do you know what day in June?
No, I guess we could just have it as we need it.
Right.
So I wanna get those funds kind of committed, is what it's called, committed. And then it'll be locked in. Now, we may end up with more funds in ARPA because just like this project is $200,000 estimate, okay? Just estimate. And if it comes in under, well, then there's more money. That's the same thing that's going on with the rest of the ARPA funds. And I'm already being told there might be other funds available. Well, whatever is available, I'll push for the splash pad to kind of get it. So anyway, 200 is like a starting point. That we do have, and that I can get committed. And so we'll have that until 2024. We have until 2026 to spend it. And we could challenge the community and say, hey, county's gonna do 200 that look for a match, right? That gets people excited, like hospital, and then people get recognized for matching. So, and let's make this thing big if we can get it. Let's draw the people from Rome and Boston.
The ARPA funds then can only be used for the development and construction of the splash pad. It couldn't be used to set up, let's say you wanted to put $50,000 into a maintenance account or anything. It couldn't be used simply for the design, the development and construction of it.
Right, that's why I want to look at your Burt Morris. I want to look at that, what you have in your Burt Morris and like interest income and such. I don't know if there's anything in there, but I haven't even looked at it. But then you have community too. Like you could get, let's say the electric co-op to say they're going to cover so much per year in maintenance. I mean, you can make those. This community wants this, so whatever it takes. I think if you ask, I mean, you have to ask.
Cynthia, does Rome have cameras on theirs?
I don't believe so. No, I think they have lights.
If Adams decided to put cameras out for security reasons out there, would ARPA pay for those?
I would make that part of the project. Cameras and lights. Because the vandalism, yes, that is concerned. Boston really hasn't had any vandalism, neither has Rome. Doesn't mean that it can't happen here. But, you know, if it's in the dark, then probably, you know, a lot of people are gonna do things in the dark, but if the light comes on and they're being, you know, people can see them, maybe they'll stop.
I think we need to send this someplace so it stays there. If you're getting an ad hoc.
It's already at committee. It's already at Public Works level.
Okay, so, and then we just pull it back from Public Works as fast as we can, if that's the way we want to do that.
What motion is at Public Works?
It was tabled for further discussion, because I believe it was looked at, Cynthia was to collect some information.
Yep.
Sure. So we could do other motions today.
No, we can't. It's not on the-
Today was just the presentation.
Jason,
But it's listed as action.
Yeah, it looked like to me that you could take action on this, and so the action that I would probably be seeking is perhaps you say, move on to explore memorandum of understanding or assisting with the ad hoc committee wherever, I don't know how long you want to make it, but perhaps, I don't know, help me out here, I don't know how you want to.
There's like two motions, one for consideration and development of the MOU and a second motion for forming the ad hoc committee to pursue the development.
Okay, and so, just so I understand, this then goes to Public Works and then that's it, right? They'll make all the decisions, so they'll hear the ad hoc committee will report to the Public Works, or is it?
What I think is we have it in Public Works right now. We get the committee there and we can send it out of Public Works into that committee. That's what it sounds like we could do.
So then that ad hoc committee report to Public Works, and then they make then the recommendation to send things to the general council. I think that's what you were kind of asking, is who's gonna make those decisions.
Yeah. So ad hoc is gonna have all the ideas, all the numbers, and then they'll move forward and go to a committee or straight to the council. But I think it probably should go, I'm just saying, I think it should be a Public Works, you know, suggestion, ad hoc, Public Works, and then Public Works onto the council for a blessing, right? Because once it leaves Public Works, it should be just a formality at that point, right? Through the experts.
Jason, when did we have the next Public Works meeting? Did you have any?
It wasn't until June 13th. was when it's the normal one scheduled for.
Is that timeline, is that date fit with your ARPA meeting?
Oh, I can get an ARPA scheduled. I'm not worried. That part I'm not
Okay.
worried about. It's your ad hoc and such, because you gotta get, I don't know, you said you wanted community members, you got a survey that's going out. I don't know if it's going out or when is it due
It's being
back?
created.
No, it's being created
Oh.
right now. It's
What-
the same through Fred and the North Central.
When's the end date on that?
It's just for us, not till the end of the year for our outdoor rec plan, so. So we're hoping to review the survey at our next June Public Works meeting.
Would you guys be comfortable with the county doing that?
Doing what?
Doing a survey? I mean, you said something about year end?
Well, the survey is gonna be more inclusive than just Burt Morris Park. It's
Okay.
the entire outdoor recreation plan, which the county is doing now. Their survey and stuff, so that it's more inclusive than just splash pad specific, but there was going to be splash pad questions in regards to that.
But if the county is.
I don't see any reason why you couldn't put a survey out there. It isn't, however you want to approach that, through an email, through a posting, however you want to advertise it. I don't see an issue with a survey.
Yeah, I think we'd get
But
much
I
more.
think it might be something where an ad hoc committee decides on what questions might go on with that survey.
I think if the county's willing to do a survey specifically for the splash pad, we'd get much more direct answers from the community on the splash pad instead of having it more generalized for the whole rec plan.
Is the June 13th Public Works meeting a little too far out to get some of this stuff rolling? Are we kind of, that's a month.
And then there's the question of is it Public Works that creates the ad hoc committee? Is it?
I know nothing about setting them up, so I would
That's
feel more
why we're
comfortable
kind
having
of caught
time
right
to-
now, because we don't know exactly how that works.
This motion that's at Public Works, we can ignore it, never touch it again, and do something different. We're not married to that motion. We're not, it can be on the table for the rest of the time. Can't it?
Could amend it too.
Right, today was getting a presentation to you guys,
Right. I don't see
not
why that
intending
wouldn't-
action.
Right, it's
action.
under action, is why I thought maybe.
Right, but we can take
So-
action.
It doesn't matter as long as you put new business action there.
This was a presentation to give us the information so that we can get it started, if we're going to get it started, but we need to send it to the we have to send it to the committee, because we do not have an ad hoc or anything like that. All we have right now is Public Works, and that's who we need to work with to get this going, okay? If we say, well, this meeting, this group of people are going to meet, and we don't have that group of people, how can they meet?
I'm just wondering about time being of the essence, and June 13th is a month away. So,
We have June, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say June 1st, we have a council meeting.
Okay, so I just want to be acting swiftly on this and let's not get to the next meeting, and the next meeting, and the next meeting. I would like to act. Our community is going to be seeing this, and I think we have a responsibility to act sooner rather than later.
Can I ask a question, please? So, if you guys got funded to $200,000, right? And if it only costs $220,000, can the city afford $20,000 to put it up? I mean, what are we waiting on? We got somebody that's most likely gonna get us $200,000. Why wouldn't we go forward today and say, let's get her done?
Because that's not how it works. There's steps that need to be taken.
Okay, I'm just saying, I
There's
thought,
steps that need to be taken, budgets that need to be looked at, decide where the funding's coming. We don't know 220 is what it's gonna take. I mean, there's a lot of steps that, so we're trying to do them correctly and get them done.
And I think placement and where we're gonna put it is going to determine that, some factors of that as
I'm
well.
just asking.
There's more to it than just going. Is it possible to get a MOU started? Could the county start that? And at least as the committees move along, that then the county can have that and then present that to the council and.
Sure, so I was actually going to suggest that the MOU perhaps get started because, again, we don't want to invest a lot of resources, and so I'm talking about personnel and time if it's not going to go, you know. So I'm looking at, you said 13th?
That's, yeah, I mean, I can schedule it sooner, but I
I was
mean,
gonna
that's,
say, we could always call a
if it's
special meeting
needed
as
to
well.
be sooner for anything, it could be.
Okay. Okay, so I can be prepared for the next Public Works to have a very, very rough draft of an MOU, because obviously it's not gonna cover everything, but it's at least a talking point to get started.
Absolutely.
And then you have, or create the ad hoc, or just go with Public Works. You don't have to go with my little, you know, it's just an idea. Because ad hocs, you can involve the community. You can have community members of that, so it's just.
Can I ask another question? So Cynthia, do you need a motion from these people to go ahead and ask for the ARPA funds? So, I mean, can you possibly do that, and so she can actually go and ask for that now, or you have to wait for Public Work to hear it again? I mean, I guess that's, you guys can always turn down the money later, right? All she needs is a motion that says that she can go to ARPA and ask for that.
That's what I was trying to get at, was why waste the money if somebody else will take it?
So basically, we're just looking for a motion to send
Yeah.
to Public Works for
We need a motion to allow,
them to develop the MOU.
sure, I think well, they can develop the MOU on their own, but it's about the asking about money. It's the wrangling money.
Well, I'm all in favor of moving forward with this, so I will make the motion to allow the county to ask for the ARPA funds to continue the process.
A second.
Any other discussion? Rick?
Alderperson Cantu,
Yes.
Grooms,
Yes.
Heitman,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to item number 2, Police Department crack fill and cement.
Was there anything else that you needed from us tonight or need to discuss?
I'll just say that I will be attending the Public Works with a draft MOU, and I think that's all I can do right now, other than I can come and say that ARPA has been committed, right? I'll come with that news, and then have a draft MOU ready to go. Because there's gonna be, again, we're gonna start hitting the pavement, right? So we gotta get the MOU in place, so we know who's doing what, and then when those goals have been met, you know.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Number 2, Police Department crack fill and sealing. CFD grant.
I'm gonna make motion to approve the crack fill and sealing for the police department range.
For how much?
Tammy, you recommending the 2 coats? I take it?
Yeah, I'd like to proceed with the double quote and then the potential for the $500 for laying that.
Okay, so I will make the motion to approve the crack fill sealing for the police department range for the 2 coats for $4,500 and the lines for $500.
I'll second it. Any questions, discussion? Rick?
Alderperson Scott,
Yes.
Cantu,
Yes.
Grooms,
Yes.
Heitman,
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Okay, item number 3, Police Department Milo System training. Any discussion?
I think if he's got the budgeted money and there's a grant available to help, it's a no-brainer if it's gonna help with training. And especially with situational stuff that you really don't get to train with when it comes to one-on-one. So I would make motion to approve the purchase of the Milo system for the Adams Police Department.
For the 14,000?
Yes, for the total of $14,190.
Okay, need a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Alderperson Cantu?
Yes.
Grooms?
Yes.
Pittman?
Yes.
Murphy?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes. Number 4, DPW Civic Systems, My Viewpoint Dashboard.
I've got a question on this yet. Jason, what reports, you had mentioned this in finance, what reports would you get out of this system? Because for $4,100 for the year and then $900 annually, what is it going to provide to you that our clerk cannot?
So far, the only reports I've ever gotten is I call up here, they print something off, I have to come up here, pick it up, take it back, and then the second they enter in another bill, it's done. So throughout the year, I can look at to make sure the bills, like I coded them right, or if they got put in the right spots. I can analyze if we're on track throughout the year completely, you know, on an ongoing basis. At any point in time, I can go, oh, have we spent that money for paving or buying gravel or salt this year? I can just pop it up. Hey, Brooke, hey, you, hey, can somebody look it up, look it up, look it up? And then it's just a constant, I mean, I should have access to my budget. As a department head, I should be able to look at that every day without having to call up here and have them then stop what they're doing and run a report for me.
It does feel like it should just be part of the workflow to print out a weekly report in my mind how this works, because we have computers, they usually just have a print button. I know you have to enter bills and stuff, but I'm not, I guess the disconnect in my mind is, why can't we just get reports?
And the amount of money that it would cost, I mean, and I might be off, but the amount of time, labor, and everything that's being taken away from running the reports for him, I'm sure would end up adding up, at least within the first year or two. But like I said, I might be off on that number, but it just seems like it's gonna end up paying for itself, well, by saving staff time and efficiency.
Well, that's just year one, right? And then it's a yearly, that's the training, that's everything for year one. Then it's yearly, it's $875, so.
And so you have all
$80
of
a
those
month.
costs in your budget?
So the initial install, I budgeted for it last year. It comes out of sewer, it comes out of water, and it comes out of general. So 3 different sources. Well, there's 5 different budgets in the general fund that I utilize. I got forestry, I got solid waste, I got streets, I got snow, I got parks. Is that all of them? Those are all different budgets under the general fund that I manage, and then sewer and water obviously are separate.
If you're telling us you need it, I'm inclined to defer to that.
Yeah. But I need a motion to accept or reject the purchase.
I'll make a motion that we approve this My Viewpoint dashboard for $4,100 and $875 annually.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Brooke?
Alderperson Grooms?
Yes.
Pittman?
No.
Murphy?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Cantu?
Yes.
Okay, number 5, the variance driveway permit for the Adams County Fire Department. Jason, you want to talk a little bit about that, please?
The rezone, or the variance, basically, the
Yeah.
2 driveways are closer than what is normally allowed. But for how that system is operating, there's no there should be no issues with allowing that operation to take place. That's the only difference. They're a little closer than what you would normally allow, but we're talking about a training center and a fire facility, not a residence that's got 2 driveways across its property, and it's just for the flow of the training traffic and the flow of the fire traffic having the larger radiuses is all, which I don't see any issues with approving the variance to how they have it set up.
Yeah, I'd love to see this project start.
I need a motion to ask for the variance for the 1 driveway.
I'll make a motion that we approve the permit for the driveway variance.
Second.
Anything? Brooke?
Alderperson Heitman,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Cantu,
Yes.
Grooms.
Yes.
Okay, number 6, the rezoning of South Park, Business Park. Any discussion?
I'm just happy it's on the agenda, and I'm grateful to move forward with this project so we can
Any-
actually.
I need a motion for the rezoning of the industrial park from an industrial park district to a C3 minus the residential aspect.
I will make the motion to rezone South Business Park from industrial to C3 extensive minus the residential aspect.
Second.
Any comments? Brooke?
Alderperson Murphy,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Cantu,
Yes.
Grooms,
Yes.
Heitman.
Yes.
Okay. Just to save on time, I'd like to just use a discussion only for the agenda control.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to have a conversation about how the council gets things onto an agenda. Because sometimes I think people have had problems getting things onto the agenda, partially because they didn't know the right process or how it was laid out in the ordinance. So all matters to be considered at regular or special council meetings shall be submitted to the clerk treasurer at least by Monday noon of the week preceding the meeting, whenever possible, to allow for publication. And that seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? So we submit an item, the clerk puts it on the agenda.
Brooke, is that how you understood it up until this point?
I didn't realize until reading that it was the Monday before.
Oh.
That's all, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, that's good.
Is there and I know it's not an action that can be taken right now, but is there a way that we can have a future discussion about potentially getting tentative agendas? Maybe just an idea of what's being talked about before Friday night, before the meeting on Monday?
Well,
Go ahead.
if you're on certain committees, you would know that that's gonna be coming up onto the next, what happened at the meetings are gonna be coming up. That's an automatic.
We
Now,
have,
anything that's been sent by the committee goes on.
That hasn't always been the case, though.
But how I understand it is if the committee wants something on, they can put it on.
not the committee, individual committee members, if they want something on the agenda.
Well, if it's individual, wouldn't the committee want to be uniform and saying that, yes, we all think that this needs to be on?
Yeah, that's, what we do is we make a motion and second it, then if we want to talk about it. If we don't want to, it doesn't get moved and seconded.
And then there's also the option of after that to refer it to the respective committee for further discussion.
You know, there's a process here where, you know, if we want to put something on the agenda, that's how we represent the people who elected us, right? If we want to put an ordinance into the agenda, if we want to introduce an ordinance to the agenda, there's a process for that. And I think sometimes that's getting put to some other process that I don't know about.
But also if the chair says to keep it at committee level, the chair has to be factored into that as well. They're the chair of that committee.
Right, and they preside over the meeting, okay, which means while you're at the meeting, they preside. They don't preside before the meeting. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, that would be a inappropriate application of executive power to a legislative function.
Let's have another discussion another day because it's getting late.
It is getting late. We can move on.
Okay. Remove from table the Hazel Street Farmers Market. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion we remove from the table the Hazel Street Farmers Market.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Do we need a vote?
Alderperson Cantu,
Yes.
Grooms,
Yes.
Heitman,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay. Now, number 9, the Hazel Street Farmers Market. Discussion. The county has discontinued being part of it.
Chamber.
The chamber has. Okay, so now do we take it on or do we leave it go?
I say yes, we take it on.
What does taking it on mean?
I was just gonna ask that.
Well, like you said, they will just come into City Hall if they want to set up, correct?
They do. It also, I think we have to look at how they're defined.